as we are getting started here, I just wanted to make sure that people are aware that this session is being recorded and will be available for your viewing after the presentation within the next day or two. So if you want to go back and review it, or if you have any colleagues who are unable to attend one of the live sessions from either yesterday or today, you can certainly feel free to access that recording. Another couple of things to be aware of. Everybody is in listen only mode at this point, but if you have any questions or any comments that you want to make, please feel free to enter those in either the chat or the Q&A option at the bottom of your screen. Ben and I are going to work to address those as it makes sense during the presentation, and we also expect that we'll have time at the end in order to be able to answer any questions that people have about the portal. And one other housekeeping note, if you happen to be looking at the presentation and you need to see more of the slides and less of Ben and I up in the top right corner, you should have options to adjust the settings so that you can actually see the content for the presentation today. So today we are going to be covering, excuse me, sorry, bumped up a little too far forward. Very excited about this. Today we're going to be covering the purpose of the employer portal, some highlights of this first release of the employer portal. So single sign-on, information about your team, and real-time billing information. We'll talk about the resources that are available to you to learn more about the portal and to review some of the information that we talk about today. Next steps, and then we're also going to talk about some of the ideas that we have for the future of the portal. So the first thing that we wanted to cover is, how did we get here? What made us decide to create this employer portal? And really what prompted us to start building an employer portal was feedback from you and your fellow clients. We have long promoted Sentinel and the benefits of allowing us to solve multiple benefit needs for you. And the employer portal is really the next step in making your job easier. We want to do what we can to make it easy to work with us. And this was something that came directly from feedback that we received from clients. Our public website, sentinelgroup.com, does a great job providing access to lots of general information, but we didn't have a central place to provide you as our client with important account information in one place. And that was really the driving force behind this portal. It was the driving force behind the features that we're releasing today. And it really is what we're going to be looking at as we move toward the future, to have one place where you'll be able to access all of your information. As we start to go through the portal, you'll see that the way that you log in to access your online accounts will be different. It'll be one place to log in for any of your online accounts. What I do want to make sure that people understand is, from the administration perspective of your plan, things are not changing. So if you're used to going to your plan sponsor website, for example, to approve distributions or to upload payroll, that's going to look exactly the same as it does today. That process itself is not changing. It's just the way you're logging into your online account that will be changing. So some highlights of this first release of the portal, and we will be going into each of these in more detail as we move through the presentation this morning. But single sign-on is one of the major highlights of the portal. So this means you'll have one set of login credentials to provide you access to all of your Sentinel accounts. There's also easy access to your Sentinel team. So with a summary of all of your account contacts at Sentinel, you're going to be able to see who services your account, their email address, phone numbers, and more easily on any of your plans. And then there's also real-time billing information. So gone will be the days of having to search through your email to try to find the most recent invoice that we've sent to you. All of your current and historical invoices and payment information will be available right on the portal. And these features, while these features alone are really exciting and really helpful, I think what we're most excited about is the potential that comes from the creation of this portal. So now that we've created this single place for you to access all of your Sentinel information. There are really endless possibilities in terms of how we can add new features to enhance this and make it even more valuable to you. So this is the login box that you're used to seeing when you go to access any of your plans. So what this portal is going to do is eliminate the need for you to select your account when you're logging in. So during registration, we're going to have, we had the option to submit questions ahead of time. Some of you had put some questions in. And one of the questions that we received was, I currently have about 5 logins for Sentinel. I've kept them over the years as I'm not sure what I may need when. What login will I need? Does that mean I can get rid of any others I may have hung on to? And I was excited to get this question because the answer is yes. You will have one login to access any of the plans that you have with us as an employer managing your company's accounts. So very exciting. This is a great feature that we're adding with the application and something that I think will be beneficial to a lot of our clients. Even if you don't have more than one online account that you're typically logging into, I think that this still simplifies things because your user ID will be your email address. So really the only thing you're having to remember to access your account with Sentinel is your password. Your email address you already know, so you're not going to have to worry about remembering that. So this is what the new login landing page will look like. So in the box toward the right center of this page is where you used to have that drop-down menu where you'd be choosing what account to log into. Instead, you'll be just going to the top of the page where it has login and selecting employers. And from there, you'll be here and you'll be entering just your email address and your password, as I mentioned. The very first time that you're logging in to access the site, you're going to be choosing this don't have an account, sign up now option. So you won't need any special login information to set up your account and log in for the first time. We've synced everything behind the scenes to link all of your accounts using your email address. So your email address is really the key driver for accessing the portal. You're going to want to make sure that the email address that you use to sign up for the portal is the same one that you use today for communications from us. When you log in for the first time, you're going to enter your email address first, and then a verification code is going to be sent to that email address to validate it. Once you enter that code, you're going to be able to complete the additional fields. It's not many, it's really your preferred display name and then a phone number for multi-factor authentication. And then you'll be all set to log in. We're going to talk about each part of the portal in more detail, but this is your first look at the portal. So you can see at the top of the screen, you've got access to the online accounts for any benefits that we provide. That's right at the top of the page. Next, you'll see a snapshot of your account's billing status. So that will include the outstanding balance, due date, as well as any recently posted payments. You'll see on the left side of the screen, there's a menu where you can navigate to additional information, including more detailed invoice information, your Sentinel team. And then at the bottom of the page, you're going to see there are links to easily access our Employer Help Center, important information about cybersecurity, as well as our Health and Wealth Hub. So this is just a quick overview, but I'm going to turn things over to Ben here to provide more detail on the main features of the employer portal.
Thank you, Lisa, and thanks everybody for joining us on a Friday morning and spending some time with us. We know everybody's schedule is tight, and we certainly appreciate the attention. So as Lisa mentioned, if you have questions throughout the presentation, please put them in the chat or that Q&A box. This is typically where we've started to see some things come flowing through as we dive into the details a bit. So as Lisa mentioned, when you're on the home page of the portal after login, you'll have this screen grab here, your organization's accounts, where you can click on retirement or the arrow next to retirement, and that will automatically bring you into your retirement account experience as you know it today. So what single sign-on is doing, it's allowing us to automatically use that one credential that you're going to set up and bring you directly into the different web platforms that you've been accustomed to using with us. So if you're a retirement plan client and you've been going to the retirement plan sponsor web, you've had a unique login for that experience. That web is remaining exactly the same. If you have FSA or HSA or COBRA services with us, you've been logging into that web is remaining exactly the same. What the portal is doing is allowing us to bring you into this one experience that's been centralized for you. And then when you click on retirement, as an example, it will be jumping you to that experience. So I'm going to go into that in a little bit more detail in one moment. One of the things to keep in mind with SSO, the login is your email address, as Lisa mentioned. You'll have the opportunity to create unique password that includes, special characters, numbers, upper and lowercase. The MFA will be done to a phone. That MFA can be sent either as a text message to a mobile device that can receive text. We also have the ability to take a voice call if you wanted to use a work line, and you'll receive a robocall with the automated message. So Lisa, if you wouldn't mind just jumping to the next slide, please. So in the use case of retirement, when you are sitting on your portal homepage and you need to go to your retirement experience, and let's say to review a loan or to run a report for your plan, you'll click on the retirement icon, as Lisa has it circled here, and it will automatically open a new tab in your browser and bring in that plan dashboard, plan sponsor dashboard. You do not need to sign in again. It will automatically be bringing you into that experience. You can transact, run reports, do what you need to do on the web, and it will be open as an additional tab within your browser window. So I think everybody here is pretty familiar with Chrome or Firefox and new tabs of that nature. So you can then log out of this or close the tab, and your plan, your employer portal will still be open behind it. So if you're a client that has retirement and FSA services with us, you could single sign on into retirement, do what you need to do, close that tab, and then you'd be able to, Lisa, if you don't mind advancing the slide, you'd be back on the home page. You'd be able to click on reimbursement accounts, and it would launch the employer web for the reimbursement account platform. So obviously these two sites have been independent. They are remaining independent, but the intention of the portal is to build one centralized point that can bring you into each of those using single sign-on, so you do not have to remember multiple sets of credentials. Needless to say, I think we can all agree we want to know less passwords and have less usernames and passwords in our life. So that's really the intention. The Sentinel Vault, which you'll see in the left-hand menu, if applicable to you, the Sentinel Vault is a service that we rolled out recently. It's a cloud-based file sharing platform through ShareFile, which is a Citrix company. And this is really what we use for a Dropbox type solution to share files related to valuations, fee disclosure notices, things of that nature. So right now, this is mainly a service that we've used for plan audits or for retirement advisory clients, but we are looking at rolling this service out to more and more of our business units. So the Sentinel Vault will be something that if you've been set up with Vault Access, you'd be able to single sign on into the Vault directly from the employer portal. We expect in 2022 to have much more of our business processes for our different business areas flowing through the Vault. So certainly if you haven't heard of the Vault, then that's okay. You're not probably missing anything or in the dark or anything, but we expect to be rolling this out to our different business areas, and those business areas will be communicating specifically on how they'll be using that service and involving you in that. And then the Sentinel team. So this is something we're very, very excited about. I think one of the things that we've seen when people are, if you're covering for one of your colleagues and you're not sure exactly who your colleague communicates with at Sentinel, or if you have multiple service lines with us, you have retirement and you have COBRA, maybe you have a great relationship with Christine and Shelly and you know who to go to, but maybe somebody covering for you doesn't. So this gives us the ability to show a display by business area. So you can see in this case, retirement and COBRA are the group headers in that burnt orange color. And you can see all of the people that are assigned and in what role to work on your retirement plan. So in this case, if you were looking to communicate with somebody in COBRA, you have Shelly's contact information here. You have her phone number. You also have the ability to click that email icon and send Shelley an email directly. You'll also notice there are LinkedIn buttons, so you can get directly to somebody's LinkedIn profile. You can also see bios, if applicable, for any of those people that have bios on our public website. It will link you directly there, so you can learn more about that individual if you choose. Needless to say, this is only going to be showing information about the services that you have, so it will be dynamic in nature, and we'll be showing if you're a plan that's being onboarded. As an example, on the retirement side, you would have a project manager that is assisting in the transition of your plan. That individual will be showing up under retirement, and then once your plan goes live, your retirement planning consultant will be showing, and that person would be dropping off. So this information is intended to always be up to date, always be showing the people who are assigned to work on your case. Did have a quick question. I have 2 different companies / accounts. Can I access both companies from one sign-in? So great question. The answer is yes. The intention of the employer portal is to be unique to you as a contact, and then to aggregate all of your different accounts. So if you have 2 retirement plans, if you have 2 companies, each with their own retirement plans, all of that information will be aggregated through the employer portal, and will be presented in a grouped manner so that you can identify which plan we're referring to. So certainly thank you for the question. We're definitely getting some questions coming in now, so appreciate that. Real-time billing information is one of the other exciting features that we're bringing into the portal. So this gives us the ability to display invoices to everyone that has access to invoices. And I'll explain in a moment in a little bit greater detail what that means. But as Lisa showed on the dashboard, when you first log into the employer portal, there'll be a summary of the invoice information that shows recent invoice, outstanding balance, date due. If you click on the invoices on the left side menu and get into this view, we plan to display all invoices for any date range, for any accounts that you have, and any business lines that you have access to. When you're here, you can click on the invoice number or invoice icon on the left side of the screen. That will open up the PDF of the invoice in that browser. You can also see across the grid here, different plan types, due dates, the total amount of the invoice, the unpaid amount of the invoice, and then the status, unpaid or paid. Any invoice that has $1, a cent outstanding will still be categorized as unpaid. So it would show anything that would be partially paid. If it's something where maybe there's an employer portion of the invoices paid partially by the employer and partially by plan accounts. There's also filtering along the top, so you can filter by service line. So if you had COBRA and retirement with us and you wanted to go look just at COBRA invoices, you could select just one plan service type to view that information. We also have the ability to filter by date range, start and end. That way you can target a certain area if you're looking for an invoice from 2018, if you've been a client for multiple years. And then you can also filter by status, unpaid and paid, as I had mentioned. Couple clarifying questions about access and the invoice process in general. This does not replace invoices still being emailed. So today, invoices are sent via email to a billing contact or a number of alternate billing contacts that we have set up on your plan. That is remaining intact. So no changes there. But the feedback we've had has been, well, you sent me that email, that's great. Can I get a copy of it? Because I deleted that email, or I can't find that email from Q1. So the intention of this is to be an add-on so that you have access, transparency to come back and see those invoices. The billing contacts today for your firm or the alternate billing contacts will automatically be given permissions to view invoice information within the employer portal when it goes live. We will be sharing when it's going to go live, so we'll get to that. But all billing contacts will be given information in terms of permissions, I should say, in terms of being able to see this information and view old invoices. What we will not be doing is turning every contact on to be able to see invoices. So the intention as we move this to production is that people who have access to see invoices today, because they're emailed invoices, will get access to view invoices through the employer portal. If you're a primary contact, you don't get the invoices today, it goes to your billing department, but you want to be able to see invoices in the employer portal, you'll just let your Sentinel representative know, and we can toggle on that permission to view the invoices through the portal without adding you on as somebody who gets an emailed invoice. So hopefully that clarifies that. The billing teams will still get the emails so that they can get those invoices processed. And now we're going to transition it to Lisa to talk a little bit more about resources. I'll clear up some of the questions that have been answered already, but if you have any additional questions about anything we've discussed, please feel free to keep adding.
Great, thank you, Ben. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, you're going to see additional resources for you at the bottom and on the right side of the portal homepage. So these are quick links to content that we think will be helpful to you. So they're going to include things like our help center, our health and wealth hub, information about upcoming webinars and events. There may be ebooks. We're going to be updating the content, particularly on the right side of the homepage on a pretty regular basis. One thing that I wanted to point out, and this is not new for the portal, but I just want to make sure that people are aware, especially with cybersecurity being the hot topic that it is today. I just want to make sure that you know that we have lots of information about how we safeguard our customers from cybersecurity threats. So you can find things like our list of the 12 DOL cybersecurity best practices. We have a whole cybersecurity resource center that's through our partnership with Stop Think Connect. We also have current articles and other content, so cybersecurity considerations in the COVID environment, and lots of other helpful content to keep you and your participants safe. So you'll be able to access this information directly from the portal, but I just wanted to mention it today because it is something that we have available to you today, should you want to look at anything or want to send anything out to your employee population.
And Lisa, I just did have one other question
Sure.
about permissions around invoicing and user logins and things of that nature. So each individual contact at your company will have the ability to have portal access. So it's contact specific in the sense that Lisa and I will each have our own unique login. And then on top of that, we can create the ability to have somebody who wouldn't previously transact on the retirement platform or the FSA platform or corporate platform to still get into the portal just to view invoices. So if you had a billing contact at your firm, John Smith and Accounting, we can set John Smith and Accounting up with access to the portal. They could log in, and when they log in, they wouldn't have the ability to single sign on into those other platforms because those platform permissions do not exist for them. But we could turn on just the ability for them to see invoices. So my guess is that will be common where people have billing departments or billing contacts that want access to the employer portal just to be able to see the Sentinel team and billing information. So we certainly view that as a great opportunity to get people to have a digital platform without going into the retirement plan administration or FSA administration and getting their hands involved in any of that. So certainly a great question. I appreciate you asking it.
Yeah. And just to piggyback a bit off of that, this also will not change any access that people have once they get into any of those accounts. So for example, if you have some people within your organization who are authorized to approve distributions and loans and some that aren't, there's nothing changing with that. Those permissions will remain intact exactly as they are today. So just want to make sure that's clear to everybody as well. At the top of the employer portal, you're going to see the profile, the help, and the logout options. You're always going to log in using your email address, but if you'd like to change your password after you've created it, you can do that from the profile option at the top of the screen. At this time, any other changes, if you need to update your phone number, you want to update your display name, those types of things would need to be coordinated through your Sentinel representative. They are things that we're planning to expand the access here in the future, but for right now, those updates would go through your Sentinel representative. And then the help option is going to bring you right to the employer portal section of our Employer Help Center. If you haven't had an opportunity to use our Help Center yet, definitely recommend taking a look at that. It's employerhelp.sentinelgroup.com, and we have a ton of really great content out there to help you with the administration of your plans. And this section here on the employer portal is the newest section of content that we've added. This is live at this point, so feel free to go out there and explore it. It includes a lot of the details about things we've talked about today. It also includes tips and frequently asked questions. It'll address URLs that you may want to whitelist if your organization has, excuse me, especially robust web security restrictions. So that information is out there. Lots of great content, and we're going to continue to be adding to this as we get to the launch of the portal and beyond. And then I mentioned at the start of this presentation, one of the most exciting things about this employer portal is the potential that it holds. So we already have a whole list of future enhancement ideas. We've talked about things like adding a calendar where you can view your client-specific meetings, as well as any global events that we have going on. One of the things that we don't have currently that we want to add is on the group insurance side, single sign-on to total enroll, as well as the other insurance applications in MyWave. So what we want to do there is get single sign-on up and running. I will say that if you are a group insurance client, you will have the options to log in directly to the insurance portals right from the employer portal. It's just it won't be single sign-on at this point. Other ideas that we've talked about are adding the ability to send messages from within the portal, having a list of outstanding tasks that need to be completed. So, for example, if you have census information that needs to be submitted and you have a distribution that needs to be approved, we'll have that information as tasks that will update in real time or close to real time, so that you know what's outstanding on your account. One of the things that this would help to solve, we know we send lots of emails every time there's a distribution to approve or a loan to approve or we need information, we're emailing you about it. This would be a nice way to help roll that up so that you can have a better line of sight into making sure that nothing gets missed. Another enhancement that we've talked about is contact management. So having someone within your organization who could have administrative access to add, remove, update information for themselves and others within the organization, that's another enhancement that we've talked about. So as I mentioned at the beginning, the whole idea for this portal came from our conversations with our clients and some of the things that people talked about as opportunities to make things easier. So we are very interested in hearing from you about what you'd like to see. So as you start to use the portal, please keep that in mind. Definitely share any ideas that you have with us. I've talked about a bunch of the ideas that we have right now, but nothing is set in stone, and we want to make sure that whatever we do for the future enhancements to the portal are really what our clients are looking for and what will be most beneficial to them. We had one question that came in about the contribution center on the employer websites. This is on the retirement side. Will there be any changes? No, and the answer to that is no. The functionality of uploading your payroll will be exactly the same. It'll look exactly the same as it does today. The only difference is going to be the login that you use and how you log in to get to that site. But once you get over to that site, it will look exactly the same as it does today. So no changes there.
And of course, with any of these things, if we're saying no changes and you're thinking, well, I wish they would, please feel free to share those ideas as well. I think our points here about the functionality of those sites not being changed as part of this project, but if there are things that we need to obviously address, we want to know about those as well.
Definitely. So thank you for your patience and waiting to hear when this is going live. So some key takeaways. We will be launching the employer portal at the end of November. So that is the plan right now. We wanted to get out in front of our clients and give you an opportunity to get kind of a sneak peek answer any questions that you have, but we will be continuing to communicate about the employer portal as we get closer to the actual launch. So we'll be sending reminder messages with some of the content that we've talked about today, as well as more details about logging in. We'll also send another reminder when the portal does go live. Again, just to make sure everybody knows, this client clinic recording and the slides will be available on our webinars and events page. And then the help center content that I mentioned is live. It'd be great to go out there and take a look at that, as well as the other content that we have out there. So at this point, we're going to take a look back at any of the questions that have come into this point. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type those in now, and Ben and I will address anything outstanding here.
Yep, so we did have a question come through. Can we pay invoices directly from the website? So today that functionality is not built into the first release of this. It is something we've talked about to allow for credit card payments or something like that. I do just want to note, we do have the functionality to pay invoices directly through an ACH process. So that could be an ACH pull, and that can, or take a credit card payment through our finance team. So if you're interested in having your invoice payments set up to auto deduct, we can certainly do that. I would just ask that you contact your Sentinel representative. We can make sure we get that paperwork. It's a small form just to get that set up. We also had the question, when I upload my contributions each week, will that portal change? So no, and I think that's the functionality that Lisa was mentioning will stay identical. So the intention of this platform that we're sharing today is to really be the hub, the starting point that you log into that has some information about your teams, your invoices, things of that nature. And then it will single sign on you into those other platforms. So retirement or FSA, et cetera. And the intent there is you will be able to get onto those sites, perform this task in the same function and fashion that you're accustomed to today. Those sites aren't changing. And then you can close the tab and land back in the employer portal if you wanted to do something else, or you could simply log out. So we're really just changing the front door, if you want to think about it that way. And then once you're in, everything is the same in terms of the functionality.
I love that analogy, Ben. I'm going to use that on some of my future communications, I think.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect description of what we're doing.
Thanks. I had a couple other questions here. Can I pay my invoices from my forfeiture account directly? So depending on your plan's billing arrangement, if your plan does have forfeitures, those can be used to offset your bill. So I recommend talking to your plan consultant about that. Some of that we do on a quarterly cycle where your forfeitures are used to offset each quarter. Others are used to offset annually and let them accumulate throughout the year. So I would just, I think that's probably a better plan consulting question based on the specifics of your plan, how much forfeitures are being generated in juxtaposed to whatever your administrative expenses are, but certainly something we can do. Are there changes coming to the employee website? So the employee websites are something that we have talked about creating a centralized website for. We have not broken ground on that. We really recognize that we had a sort of opportunity and obligation to build a centralized portal for our employers. I think all of you have log in more than your participants, interact with us more. And we wanted to make sure that we had a central hub that made sense and made it easy for you to work with us. So that was really our first intention. The participant experience we've talked about a little bit, but the web platforms are so unique in the sense that many of our FSA or retirement clients are logging in for different reasons. The functionality is pretty different. The FSA and HSA experience is much more consumer driven, as much as we want some of those HSA accounts to be savings. But we have two independent mobile webs right now and mobile applications right now for those services, just because we think as distinct offerings, they actually help the participant with having better functionality in their hands. So the participant portal is something we've thought about, talked about, but we haven't made any firm decisions to move forward with changes on either of those experiences. So the SSO within our employer portal that we just got a question on. So our employer portal SSO is built internally. It handles interacting with our CRM and with our different record keeping softwares to make sure that you're single signing into those platforms. You should not have to make any changes on your side. Your IT does not need to be involved. It's all built within the application of the portal by our development team, supported by our development team. So there's nothing you need to do. Lisa's comments about whitelisting is really because the actual web URL of the employer portal is different. And so it's one of those things where if you were to go to sentinelgroup.com the first time you're a client and try and log into one of our sites previously, you might have to talk to your IT team and say, can we unblock this site because it's a site they're not familiar with? The same thing may be true with this employer portal the first time. So we're not sure. We've done a beta group. 9 clients didn't have an issue, 1 client did. So it really depends on the firewall and the IT security that your firm has in place. So on that Employer Help Center page, we have included some information about whitelisting that IP address, that URL, so that you don't run into any of those issues. But your IT team does not need to be involved in any development or anything like that related to this employer portal. We had another question. Are we able to view health benefits, med, dental, vision, life insurance? So right now for if you work with our insurance group, they have a few different platforms, Total Enroll, which is our benefit admin enrollment solution, and also the MyWave platform, HR Connection. Those 2 sites are independent. They will be linked to so that you can log in. But we do not today roll up or feed in information about renewal information or anything like that. When I was speaking about the Sentinel Vault platform, that's an area that our insurance group is exploring on how to build out the vault to provide information through that mechanism, to be able to drop renewal meeting information, to drop current rates that they're getting from carriers for you. So that's going to be where we centralize a lot of that information, since there's not really an insurance web platform that you would be interacting with as the employer. Hopefully that answers that question, but if it didn't, please feel free to send me an email directly. My email address is my first name, benjamin.healy@sentinelgroup.com, and I'd be happy to try and help identify that for you.
Just another minute here, and I think we've caught up with all the questions, but if anybody has any additional questions, feel free to type those in now. Again, feel free to email Ben or myself. My email is lisa.francis@sentinelgroup.com, or your Sentinel representative. Any of us will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And again, there will be more communication as we get closer to the actual launch of the portal. But thought it was a good time to give everybody a sneak peek at what we've been working on.
Yes, we are very, very excited to get this in your hands, and really looking forward to hearing any feedback you have. So appreciate all the time today, and we look forward to hearing more from you and about this platform in the future. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.